Greetings everyone and welcome to the Hope Collective. Today we are doing another pick a card, meaning that I'm going to shuffle my Unfolding Path tarot deck to pull 3 cards, which will each signify a different group or pile. And each group or pile will have most likely its own video, since I usually go pretty long on these, so I probably won't be able to upload them all as timestamps in one video. And for each group, I'll be using the tarot and oracle cards as a focal point to bring through and channel messages from the spirit guides and higher selves of the collective of that group. Whatever it is that that group most needs to hear right now, or that the spirit guides and higher selves of that collective most think that group needs to hear. So we have pile 1, pile 3, pile... Okay, they're telling me to flip this one around. Okay. All right, so let's see what our significator cards are. I'm being guided to show them this time rather than do a blind pick. So we have the Chariot in reverse, the 7th major arcana in reverse for group 1. The Empress upright, the 3rd major arcana for group 2. And we have the Star upright, the 17th major arcana for group 3. So take a moment to take some deep breaths, tune into your intuition or your gut instincts, and feel into which pile or piles you are drawn to for your reading. If you tune into this at the time that group 1 or group 2 is uploaded, then once group 3 is uploaded, a link to group 3 will also be added to the description boxes of groups 1 and 2. Similarly, if you tune in when group 1 is uploaded, groups 2 and 3 will be added as they become available as links to that description box. Take your time making your choice, and I will see you at your reading. Hello everyone, and welcome to pile 2. This is your group if you chose the Empress card from our Unfolding Path Tarot significator cards, number 3 in the major arcana. And I'm being guided to pull from the Spirit Song Tarot before I start channeling or bringing through any messages. So that's what the Spirit Song Tarot deck looks like. Spirit guides, tap me into the spirit guides and higher selves of the collective of group 2. What messages does group 2 need to hear today? What can we bring through for them? What guidance does group 2 need at this time? We have the 4 of Shells, so that's the 4 of Cups. Soul searching and reevaluation are the keywords on this deck. I'm really being drawn to the sun. Looks kind of like a slice of lemon or lime on this picture. I'm really being drawn to the sun in this. I'm hearing turn towards the sun in my mind. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting as well from how drawn I am to it. There's a sense of kind of depriving yourself of nutrients that you actually don't need to be deprived of. You can simply turn towards the sun. You can simply drink the lemon or lime water, get the vitamin C, get the vitamin D, get what you need. If you just adjust your stance a little bit, adjust your position a little bit, and stop holding tightly to what's not working. Which is a common theme for the 4 of Cups and the 5 of Cups, is that sort of don't cry over spilled milk, where rather than the attention in your life staying on the cups that are empty actually turn towards the cups that are full, and also towards the readily available resources you have for refilling your cups. What are you drawing me towards next, Spirit? Spirit is already telling me to move away from the Spirit Song Tarot. Okay, we're gonna read the message for the Four of Shells in the Spirit Song Tarot guidebook, and then we will figure out our next move. Four of Shells, Crane. Innovative at using new approaches to solve problems, Crane is here to help you renew your optimism, bringing clarity and insight. Crane will guide you in taking the time you need to renew your energy. When you embrace something that you feel passionate about, you'll soon find yourself motivated into action. It's up to you to choose to see the opportunities that are right in front of you and to act upon them. Rest and meditation will deliver a fresh mindset. Take this time to reflect and regroup and redirect your energy. Contemplation, meditation, soul-searching, reevaluation, reflection, refocus, and disillusionment are the keywords for this card. And I'm being guided to read the very short reversed meaning message as well. New ideas are at your fingertips. Seize the opportunity. Excuse me. So yes, there's that classic saying about is the glass half full or half empty, and of course the point that many have realized since that age-old debate is it doesn't matter, the glass is refillable. And this is reminding you of that. And definitely a very strong energy here that there's something already available to you that you are either resisting or perhaps simply haven't seen yet or aren't appreciating. Might be kind of dismissive of something in your life that actually holds great value for you and could really be the key to the solution that you're looking for, the key to unlocking it, or could in fact be the solution in and of itself. And it's time to not be so dismissive or so quick to write it off or brush it off. That's a pretty strong message for some of this group. I'm being drawn to connect that back to the Empress. The Empress is very fertile with possibility, very fertile with new opportunity, new creativity that is ready to be born into the world. And is very luxurious and abundant in terms of resources to be able to feed that new idea and so as to actually birth it into the world. Yeah. And also the message about taking the time to reflect and regroup and redirect your energy, rest and meditation will deliver a fresh mindset, is very connected to the message for Pile 1, which I posted a couple of days ago. So if you feel drawn to it, you may find that Pile 1 also has messages for you. I'm being drawn to use the Ostara Tarot for our next pull here. And I just got this. I'm not sure what's up with this, but I got this feeling from Spirit or some specific spirit guides as I was being drawn to the Ostara Tarot that, oh shoot, things are getting real. That might be connected to how some of you are feeling about, like, if you have something in your life that you're feeling kind of like, no, I don't want to turn in that direction. I don't really see that as an opportunity. I'm seeing that as kind of an annoyance or a burden, and I wish it would stop, like, poking its head out at me and calling for my attention. It feels like it's just kind of poking at me and annoying me. It could be emotions that are poking their heads up at you, rearing their heads. And like if you actually tapped into those emotions, they would teach you so much about yourself. If you surrendered to them and let them flow through you, you would also free up so much energy that is currently being wasted, to be frank with you, on resisting them. So it might feel like dying to surrender to them. But at the end of the day, they are emotions. They are not actually going to kill you. They are actually going to wash through you. And if you surrender to them, you open up a million possibilities that would not be available if you had this whole huge portion of your energy dedicated to suppressing them and pushing them down. That energy needs to become available in order for you to actually be able to grow the grow this new opportunity or this creative pursuit, whatever it is that you are trying to bring into the world, like the Empress. This reading is definitely surprising me, which I love. I love that. Whew, okay. So, yeah, the part about emotions was very strong. With the, oh shoot, things are getting real, issues getting real feeling, and that just the kind of severity and emphasis of the message from some spirit guides, it kind of feels like some people's spirit guides and higher selves in this group are kind of getting sick of your ish. And they're kind of being like, look, this is your last chance if you don't choose to turn towards, you know, this thing you've been suppressing, this feeling or thought, or you've been suppressing, or this part of your life that you've been ignoring, like maybe a sibling that you've been ignoring that wants to talk to you, or someone's complaint at work or something like that. The little sibling feeling is coming up really strongly. For some of you, that might be your inner child with the emotion. For some of you, it might literally be a person, like a younger sibling or a younger friend or family member. Or they may not actually be younger, but they may be someone that you feel you have more like maturity or experience or wisdom or expertise than, but it's doing you great. It's to your detriment immensely that you're ignoring them right now. And there's it's a little bit challenging to bring this through without apologizing for it, but there's a really strong feeling from certain spirit guides of kind of wanting to whack you over the head, or slap you upside the head, like, stop doing what you're doing. You know better. You know this ain't right. Oh man, it is humorous to bring it through also, but also makes me kind of tense up a little, because I know when you're on the receiving end for those messages, it quite often it does not feel funny. Because a lot of times, you know, the 2x4 to the head from the universe can feel, you know, like the type of suppressed emotions that are from a trauma that makes you feel like you're dying to relive it. And I am someone who can very confidently tell you that you will not die, because I've relived so many such things. I've gone into the fires over and over again to be transformed by those emotions that feel like they're going to destroy me, but I understand that it often takes the push of feeling like you simply have no other choice. A lot of times it takes for humans being backed into a corner and just having the tide pummel you unstoppably, because if you feel like you have any choice, you will choose to look away from this quote-unquote problem. But you're being really urged by your spirit guides, like, to turn towards it and recognize that it's actually not a problem. And either, like, this person in themselves has many gifts to offer you and much wisdom to offer you that you're dismissing, especially in the case of a younger sibling or something like that, or in the case of your inner child, or these emotions, your inner child absolutely has infinite gifts to offer you. It's funny that that's coming up, because one of the short messages I posted on Instagram, the short message I posted on Instagram today had to do with that as well. But the emotion itself also has gifts to offer you, even if it's so painful it feels like it's tearing you in half. There's some gold nugget that is like that's priceless. That's what I'm hearing from Spirit. It's truly priceless. The wisdom, the information, the personal truth that is carried by that emotion. Understanding that personal truth about yourself versus not understanding it is the difference between making choices right now that set you on the completely wrong path for yourself for the next 20, 25 years, the rest of your life, versus making decisions that set you on a path that will be rewarding and fulfilling and will feel aligned. And even when it involves hard work, it will feel easy in the sense that you understand why you're doing it and often like doing it or feel rewarded by the doing of it in and of itself, because it's an aligned choice for you. It's coming from a place of, I am doing this for myself and I know exactly why and what I'm doing it for. So yes, this oh no, shoot, things are getting real feeling it's like there might be a lot of panic about what's rising up and grabbing for your attention in your life right now, but there's a strong message of like, look, you need to be on your own side right now, and by resisting this or trying to ignore it or dismiss it, you're not being on your own side. And if this message is not resonating for you, you've probably already clicked away at this point. There might be some people who don't feel like it resonates because they are so deeply in the resistance. So I'm not going to say just, oh, this message just definitely isn't for you if it doesn't resonate. But if you genuinely can't even picture like what this is about, you might either just not be called to this particular reading and be called to a different pile or group or a different reading, or you might have a little bit of just centering yourself and coming out of the chaos of everyday life and into awareness of what's going on for you in your life in order to be able to understand what this reading applies to for you. Because there's a very strong feeling that for most people this reading applies to. Like, there's something that immediately came to mind when I said, like, hey, there's something you've been ignoring. There's something that immediately you're like, oh no, not this. Come on, I shouldn't have to deal with this. I've been trying not to deal with this. I've been trying to tell people this isn't my problem. Like, take care of yourself. And it might not be other people. It might be, with the inner children and emotions, it might be yourself that you've been trying to say. It might be yourself that you've been trying to get off your own back. Or spirit. And your spirit guides are like, yeah, no, we can't do that. We can't get off your back because that wouldn't actually be for you. You think that we're annoying you, but we're trying real darn hard to help you. And it would be great if you tried to help yourself. That will help us immensely. And you'll stop feeling so annoyed by us because we won't be fighting you. You'll be acting in alignment with your own soul and your own heart. Whew. I was not expecting to be bringing through messages that had so much friction around them today. That's pretty fun and new and interesting for me. I've brought through messages that were about resistance many, many times in like personal individual readings, but that hasn't happened yet in my collective readings. So this is a fun one. Okay, so we've got this Astara Tarot card. Wow. This card is so similar to the Empress. Wow. It's interesting, that short message that I did on my Instagram today used the Happy Family card from the Energy Oracle deck. And the message I brought through was all about reparenting yourself. And in the context of this, what's come through so far, this does give a strong vibe, this image of reparenting yourself, holding your sobbing inner child. For some of you, that might be the key that you need in order to choose to turn towards this emotion that feels like it's going to crush you, if that's what's going on, if that's how this reading applies to you, is to continue to identify partly with the infant self that is feeling that emotion and is so overwhelmed by it, but also bring forward to hold and cradle that part of you, the part of you that is maternal or parental, the part of you that is grandmotherly or grandfatherly, that's old and wise and unshakable by any storm because of how much they've already weathered and how rooted in the ground they are. Because this is I'm double checking, but I'm pretty sure this is the Queen of Pentacles. Or the Queen of Coins, as they describe it in this deck. Yes, definitely the Queen of Coins or Pentacles. The Empress card and the Queen of Coins are both fully earth element cards. The Empress has a bit of mastery of all elements, especially wands and coins, fire and earth, but is strongly associated with Venus and Taurus energy, and so is the Queen, as you can see here with the bowl, the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles has a shield as well as this very strong protective bowl next to her, and that earth element together with that shows how you have a spirit team to fall back on who will do this for you, and also have the ability within yourself, within these grandmotherly, grandfatherly parts of yourself, to root down to a degree that is unshakable by any storm, and create a safe space, a shield for your inner child, your inner children to feel and process in. And that is huge. That is a tremendous gift to receive and to give yourself. And that might be the key. I think this is part of the how guidance for this group. There's the motivation from the Empress of like, see what it is that you have to gain from this. See what you would be stopping yourself from birthing into the world and bringing it into your life that you desperately want, that you are blocking from yourself. See the blessing that you are blocking from yourself by resisting this area of your life, this person in your life, or this emotion. I am going to get back to the person part in just a second. So that's the motivation. And the Four of Shells also brought in a reminder of another part of the emotion, which is like, notice how much this is wearing you out, and think about how refreshed and renewed you're going to feel when you just let this happen and stop resisting it, especially when it comes to feeling feelings. Remember how cleansed you felt the last time you had a good cry, even if it was 20 years ago. And remembering that as sort of your light at the end of the tunnel, and the things that this is kind of wearing you out too much to pursue as your carrot on the end of the stick with the Empress. Let yourself be swallowed by the waves and have that good cry. Stop thinking I need to limit it to 5 minutes. Let yourself have an evening off where you watch a sad movie until it makes you cry. Whatever it is that you need to do to go there, choose to go there, to turn towards this. Listen to the song that reminds you of your childhood that you always avoid because it will make you cry. You need to cry right now. So holding that safe space for yourself by dedicating a whole evening or a whole day or afternoon to this, where you have your notifications turned off and you're not going to let anyone tell you you have to do something, where you have a babysitter, or the kids are at soccer practice, or you don't have work in the morning, so it's okay you have an emotional hangover, that sort of thing. But mostly, even more than that physical container, creating the emotional container free from your own judgment and the voices of external judgment, if that does apply to people in your life, but free from your own judgment of, should I feel this way? You're feeling it. Should becomes irrelevant in the face of the fact that this is reality. So create a space free from judgment. Tune into both the inner child that is feeling this way and the inner parent or grandparent, or just, the inner angel or archangel, the inner soul within you that absolutely has the capacity and the compassion to hold you just like this and protect you and comfort you all in one. Nourish you as well with that earth element and the crops here, and the natural way that the Empress and the Queen of Pentacles are nourishing their child. Now, I said I was going to return to the aspect where this reading could apply to an actual person in your life that you're dismissing and not just an emotion. Everything I've said about how you can approach your own emotions also applies to the emotions of your friends, your siblings, your children, your nephews and nieces or grandchildren, if that applies to you. If an actual person in your life has been seeking your attention and you've been reluctant to quote unquote deal with them, it's time to reframe how you look at this person, because they are a person, not a burden or an annoyance. And what they have to say is valuable, because for some of you, there's a very strong message that for some of you, this is about like someone who's been trying to come to you with like an idea, maybe advice, maybe a creative idea, something they want to do that they need your permission for because you are their guardian or their older sibling or the one with the funding to make it happen or whatever it is. Their boss or their coworker, in a few cases it might be. This feels familial for most people, especially with the Empress and the Queen having that mother imagery in them. But there could be a few of you for whom this is about found family, chosen family, or workplace The earth element does have to do with work as well, especially the pentacles. That just feels like it's a very small percentage of people in this audience. Although some of you may work with your family, and that is why your, younger sibling or cousin has, a business idea they're approaching you with. They have a valuable idea and wisdom to share with you, and you should listen to it instead of taking it for granted or dismissing it and burning that bridge with them. You should not expect them to tolerate disrespect. You would not tolerate that yourself. This is coming through in this very fiery way from Spirit. So, again, challenging to bring this through without apologizing for it. But some of your spirit guides or higher selves are a little bit ticked off. And if there is someone in your life that you've been dismissive of, you know this, and it's time for you to actually apologize out loud to them instead of just in your head. Guilt tripping yourself goes nowhere. There's no use for guilt, but you do need to actually take accountability and apologize. And for some of you, this is like a much younger person that you do actually have an emotional relationship with. And their emotions need to be held the same way that I was discussing holding your inner child's emotions. You need to understand that this is not something that's going to go away if you ignore it, because there's no such thing as an emotion that goes away if you ignore it. And let me clarify that, because I think this confuses some people. There are times when you have already started the process of feeling and releasing your emotion, and you do get to kind of just go about living your life or distracting yourself, and because you've gotten far enough into the process, your nervous system completes it on autopilot without you having to think about it, especially if you have actually practiced anything in the vein of emotional regulation before. You've taught yourself how to do it on autopilot. That's not the same as ignoring it and expecting it to go away. That's understanding that once the process gets to a certain point, doing anything, quote unquote, doing anything further, trying to fix it more, is just going to mess with it. It's just going to derail it. Especially if you're doing so from a self-critical attitude. Integration needs to be allowed. And that is a part of it. That's not the same as ignore it and it will go away. And let's be honest, most of us were treated by all adults and many older children in our childhoods as something to be ignored so that it would go away. And especially our emotions were treated that way, because our emotions took up time that the adults in our lives didn't have, because they were busy trying to survive and put food on the table. And make sure that, the other children they were responsible for didn't trip and crack open their skulls, that sort of thing. So if you've adopted a dismissive attitude towards yourself because the adults in your childhood had dismissive attitudes, possibly towards everything, but especially towards children and or emotions, it's time to start changing that. Like, that's your job, actually, to uproot that and plant a different, more fruitful seed with the Empress and the Queen of Pentacles instead. To empty your cup with the Four of Shells of poison and pour healing water, holy water, mother's milk, milk and honey into your cup instead, to actually feed your emotional self, your inner child, your current self, who is part of what is trying to get your attention here. And for some of you where you do have another actual person, such as a child or a sibling, trying to get your attention, there is a dual message here where the reason you are resisting this child is because of the emotions they trigger in you or mirror in you. And you need to make space to deal with your own emotions, quote unquote, do this processing and holding space and comforting that we've been talking about here, so that you can show up for this other person in an appropriate way and be responsible and do the right thing by this other person. Some of you are being very strongly guided with these motherly figures and this need for a safe space, this need for a womb-like space, to seek help from a therapist or counselor or mentor, or for some of you it might be a religious mentor, like some folks, pastors, for example, in Christian churches offer counseling, or support groups, and I imagine that might be similar in some other religions as well. So whatever type of counseling feels aligned for you, some of you are being called to that rather than trying to hold space for yourself on your own for these very overwhelming emotions, it's okay to lean on other people. It's okay to lean on the family members who are older than you. For some of you, that message might be a little bit reversed of like, you know what, it's not that there's a younger person in your life, quote unquote, nagging at you for attention. It's that in the past, you did not have safe elders to go to for this type of support, but now in the present you do. Maybe you've met friends, whether they're actually older or not, or mentors, or have a great therapist now, or have formed a healthy relationship with a family member that you didn't have a close relationship with before, or maybe didn't have physical access to when you were younger because you lived far apart. Reach out to these people. Reach out for help. Ask someone else to be your shoulder to cry on, to hold you while you cry, or just hold space for you while you talk through something and potentially cry it out. Very strong, very comforting, but also, like I said, lighting a fire under your butt message. I do want to emphasize that it is both, because the need to light a fire under your butt is just coming from the let us comfort you from spirit, from your spirit guides, from your higher self. It's like, hello, if you just turn around and lean into this thing, we know it feels like torture, but we're actually going to be here, your spirit guides and your higher self, to comfort you, to hold your hand through this. Lean on them as well as on the physical people, the trustworthy people in your life. Spirit will hold you through this. If you work with specific spirit guides, call on them. Call on the angels that you work with and the archangels that you work with to cradle you in their soft, fluffy, feathery wings. If you work with ocean spirits, ocean animal spirits, call on them to cradle you like the ocean cradles you when you're floating on it. Maybe actually take a bath as part of your setting aside time to just be with yourself. Or if you live near a lake or an ocean or a body of water that you can go and feel cradled by, do that. That you'll be amazed at how much that helps you cleanse and purge emotions, and helps you feel held and supported and nourished, because water, especially ocean water, is an element that does that so naturally. It's where life comes from, just like the Empress is the source of life in the tarot, because the mother is the source of the child, of the new life. Water is the source of all life, of all of us, and it will also hold you. Similarly, if water doesn't call to you as much, or you don't have a body of water like that near you, and going to a place in nature where you can lie on the grass and let Mother Gaia hold you, let the earth hold you. Gravity will keep you on the earth without you having to hold yourself up. The earth will hold you up. It's okay to fall into those arms. It's okay. That is the deeper message underlying that, oh my God, we want to shake you by the shoulders feeling from your spirit guides. It's like, we want to shake you by the shoulders because you're treating yourself like this is not okay. And it's actually okay. We are dying to tell you and show you and make you feel that it is okay to feel feelings. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to need help. It's okay to fall down. It's okay to break down and fall into pieces and collapse. And stop writing off how that will actually feed and nourish and rebirth you. How much better things will be on the other side. How much better your connection with this person in your life will be on the other side. How much what you learn from them or from yourself will inform you in the future. Stop writing that off. Stop writing emotions in general for their own sake off as unimportant or stupid. They're not stupid. Like I said before, they're the only way to know whether the choices you are making are ones that will lead you down a path that is incredibly right for you or incredibly wrong for you. There's so much more value than anyone could possibly say in them. They're a deeply strong and powerful form of energy to tap into and to tap into alignment with. And like I said before, resisting them will suck up so much energy that you don't have energy for anything else in your life. Aligning with your emotions, conversely, will give you so much energy that you can accomplish a great many things without it even feeling like an effort, because you're taking action doing things in a direction that is aligned with your emotions, doing things that you love to do, that you feel an inherent, intrinsic emotional motivation to do. That's a good thing. Things that you actually like doing are not a waste of time just because they're fun or because you have a desire for them. Desire is not evil. Whew, such strong messages today. I'm really kind of in awe. Okay, what other cards do we want to pull? I'm getting that feeling that I get sometimes of a message winding down and starting to come to completion, and Spirit being like, yep, that's everything we wanted to say. So what other cards do we want to pull for this group to bring them through more advice and guidance and wisdom, Spirit? Okay, I'm being drawn to this deck, the Foxfire Oracle deck. Love this deck. Love all my decks, of course. Okay, Foxfire deck, Spirit Guides, Higher Selves of Group 2. Can you bring through more clarification for this group, please, Spirit? Okay, we have Beauty of Age, 34. I'm loving the deep purple on this card because I find that that feels intrinsically comforting, in my opinion. And it's also a color associated with wisdom. The crown chakra, divine downloads, divine wisdom, and divine protection. Let's see how we can position these so that the lighting works for all the cards. Here we go. Let's see if I'm capable of lining them up in a straight line. Okay, Beauty of Age. Let's see what the Foxfire deck guidebook has to say about this. Number 34. Oh, and without even thinking about it, I put it in between the 3, the Empress, and the 4 shells. Yeah, I'm feeling great peace starting to come over me now that those messages of lighting a fire under your butt and embracing the tears have and walking into the fire and letting yourself be rebirthed like the phoenix. I'm feeling a great peace start to come over me now that I've gotten through those messages, or gotten those messages through to you is what I mean to say. Beauty of Age. In many cultures, youth is worshipped and aged ones are hidden, considered to be no longer worthy of respect or valuable. Yet in other cultures, the older a person becomes, the greater not only their wisdom, but their beauty. I'm just going to interrupt what I'm reading to say before I forget. For some of you, the person who's nagging for your attention in your life may actually be an elder that you're dismissing as kind of childlike in their old age when they actually have much to offer you. They're not a burden to you. For Kitsune, the passing of years becomes the gateway to deeper and stronger energies and powers. So that's resonating with what I just said a few minutes ago about these emotions are actually a gateway to deeper energies and greater power for yourself. They're not an obstacle to those things. They're actually the portal into them. Like this ancient wisteria vine, its adventures recorded in its woody sinews, twining and curling about, playful and engaging, strong and deeply rooted, and flowering as it grows older, so you, friend, shall now vow to do yourself. For as you grow older, seeker, you will continue to flower. You will further develop. You will thrive and explore, adventure and inspire. And this fairy comes to you to ask you to become older in beautiful ways, to know that your aging is beautiful, and that spirits all about you respect and honor you. For with every year you have lived, you have grown and will continue to grow. So what's coming, there's another paragraph to read in this description, but what's coming through as I'm reading this is that many people harden like petrified wood, because they start to live very repetitive lives and feel that that is the responsible thing to do, to stay stuck in their ways and to stay stuck on autopilot, and in fact become the very things they hated in adults when they were children. Like I said before about becoming someone who ignores yourself the way you were ignored by adults in your childhood, who ignores emotions, who ignores younger people than you now. Don't calcify in any way, and especially in ways such as that you actually, in your soul, don't align with. Don't calcify in any way, because you can continue to be fluid and to nourish the growth of new blossoms and fruits with all this water and earth element here throughout your life, no matter what. You can continue to tap into your emotions no matter what, to tap into the flow of spirit and of divine energy no matter what, to learn new things, to be open to new ways of doing things, to integrate what you've learned works and is tried and true with new innovative approaches to things. And you can be the change you wish to see in the world. You can be the adult that you needed as a child. You can be someone who influences children in your life, or simply younger or other people in your life, in a way that you desperately needed when you were in their situation or when you were their age. So don't become the forces that oppressed and abused and suppressed and ignored and neglected and abandoned you when you were a child. And also simply don't calcify and harden as you grow older. Continue to relate to yourself as constantly rebirthing and constantly becoming new and growing new flowers. A tree, when it becomes older, yes, it does in some ways get harder and stronger simply because it grows bigger, but the leaves and the branches that form leaves are just as flexible and free-flowing as they ever were. They have to be in order to allow leaves to grow at all, because that flexibility is part of what allows the water and the nutrients to get through to the leaves. So this message from before about the strong roots and the unshakable rootedness, groundedness of the parts of you in yourself that are capable of protecting yourself and others is complemented by the flexibility to allow yourself and others, to allow your emotions and the emotions of others, to let things flow instead of resisting reality, resisting what and how things actually are. And one of the keys to allowing that resistance to flow away is to recognize that no matter how things are, they're never going to stay that way always. Change is inevitable. When you accept that something is the way it is right now, you're not accepting that it's always going to be that way necessarily. There are some things, of course, in life that we can't take back, that we can't change back after they've changed. So there are some things that you need to accept as immutable truths, yes, but when it comes to a feeling or the way that someone else is acting, accepting that that's reality is not saying, I approve of this and I want you to be this way always. No. It's simply saying, it's okay that this is the way it is right now. That's not something that I need to try to deny or banish from reality. I am capable of facing this reality and moving from and in response to this reality. And that actually is a place, the only place of power that we have in life, because a position or stance of denying reality or pushing against it, the truth always wins. The truth always comes out. There's no strength in denying reality. There's no rootedness. There's no ability for it to actually achieve what it's trying to achieve. You can't actually make reality go away. Like I said before, ignoring something doesn't make it go away. Denying doesn't either. Okay, back to the description in the guidebook. Many people as they grow older begin to feel they must wither, but others dance into their elder years, finding partnerships and beginning new projects, allowing their true selves and eccentricities to become more and more clear, until we are buoyed up by their active, daring lives. You too will thrive, grow older, and dance. You too can become more beautiful as you age and defy the stereotypes that would have us wither and decline and become invisible to the world. Speak to people, venture out, rebel against those who urge you to behave in ways that are not true to yourself. Make your life a divine shower of sparkling inspiration wherever you go, for as long as you are blessed to live. No, not this fate for you, beautiful one. Grow old and stay fully alive until the very last breath you take this time around on this planet. This was such a beautiful, incredible message that I actually I'm gonna hold this book to the camera in case any of you want to screenshot this to reread later, because I just find that message so incredibly beautiful and gorgeous and inspiring. I could just read that over and over again. Rebel against those who urge you to behave in ways that are not true to yourself, including yourself, when you feel you're protecting yourself by ignoring or denying reality or your emotions or others. Rebel against that. No, not this fate for you, beautiful one. And defy the stereotypes that would have us wither and decline and become invisible to the world. Don't try to make this other person or this part of yourself invisible. And stop letting how you truly feel be invisible. Stop letting it be erased. Spirit is begging you. Start with seeing yourself. Start with a trusted mentor, a counselor, or family member or friend. Someone you can truly count on to see you when you ask to be seen, to hear you when you ask to be heard, to be the shoulder you cry on. And don't delay. This has been pushed down and put off long enough. Thank you so much for tuning in today, Group 2. That's all the messages that Spirit has asked me to bring through for you today. I truly wish you the best with this journey and admire and applaud anyone who chooses to turn towards their emotions, their inner children, and towards the reality of others instead of denying it or pushing it away or refusing to deal with it. So thank you for showing up. And I wish you a beautiful week. If this has helped you in any way, don't forget to like and subscribe or comment to tell me how it has. And I'll see you next time.